Hi, everybody from Tbilisi, Georgia. Today, I want to talk about an important topic for entrepreneurs, and that is that you really ought to differentiate between business immigration and startup visas. Okay, so this video is not necessarily about Georgia, but I will make a reference to Georgia in that sense. And what I would like to outline is perhaps very relevant for any entrepreneur wishing to relocate abroad regardless of the country. So let's get into it. Okay, so one of the mistakes that founders make is that they view business immigration and startup visas as synonymous. And that's not really true because you could immigrate on a business basis, but not necessarily on a startup visa. Let's say, for example, where I am now in Georgia. A lot of passport holders, including British passport holders such as myself, we can stay here for up to a year and we're allowed to register businesses without any restrictions. So we don't necessarily need a startup visa for this place. And the thing is that in many instances, you really have to look at your circumstances carefully, okay? Because startup visas, their requirements, regardless of the country around the world, I've recently written an article about this on my website, their requirements have shifted from investment and to a lesser extent job creation towards innovation. A good example is the UK's Innovator Founder Visa or Singapore's Entree Pass. And this makes a lot of applicants ineligible for these visas. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have bad ideas, but simply they don't meet the requirements of those visa pathways. Okay, so if you do, let's say you have a startup that is venture backed or has intellectual property rights, then yeah, maybe startup visas could work out for you. But the core point of my video is that you should not just limit yourself to startup visas, and you certainly shouldn't view startup visas and business immigration as synonymous concepts, because they're not. Okay, let's say in the UK, if you want to move as an entrepreneur, you could do on a UK Innovator Founder Visa, which is the main pathway for entrepreneurs. However, there's also the self-sponsorship pathway, which me and my immigration partner, who is regulated by the Immigration Advice Authority in the UK, we provide assistance with that. Okay, and with the self-sponsorship pathway, of course, there's pros and cons to every visa pathway, but you don't need an endorsement. You don't need to hold checkpoints with endorsing bodies, and your business is not necessarily subject to progressing. Well, it should progress, but not as defined in the milestones in a similar way to the UK's Innovator Founder Visa. So food for thought that if you wish to relocate abroad, it's not always just about startup visas. There are other ways to relocate to another country without going on a startup visa. If you need more information or if you need help on global business mobility, feel free to get in touch with me via my website and we can discuss your specific case. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.